Greetings to all of my, YouTube followers, fans, visitors, subscribers. Greetings to all of you. This is a short video just, talking about the truth, the real secret or reason behind the Lakers management not um, not signing Dudley. Okay. Some people talk about many different things, of course, Dudley is the one who said, well, they want to get younger players. And I think they're making a mistake, of choosing younger players over, a glue guy like me and so forth. Well, that's what they told him because they were trying to look for a good excuse, to cut him loose without, ruffling any feathers, because they know whatever they say to Dudley is going to hit the media. They know that. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty, the real reason why they didn't re-sign Dudley. There are a few reasons, okay? And the first obvious reason is because they know they need more depth with all of the injuries that happened last season. Sometimes you might have to go to the end of your bench, and stay relevant, stay competitive. And Dudley doesn't give them that competitive edge if they had to go all the way down to the end of the bench and put Dudley on the floor. They know that. So they didn't want to take up, a bench rotation with someone like Dudley. Now, of course, they wouldn't have minded him being the ball guy or or even maybe an assistant coach or something, someone to bring water to the players or whatever. They wouldn't have mind keeping him around. But even with that, they probably weren't too inclined with that either. I'll tell you why. But first of all, like I said, they don't want to take up a bench rotation when they need the depth. And if injuries happen again this season, the Lakers are very smart. The management, Rob and Jeannie, they're very smart in terms of trying to learn from their previous lessons. And so they learned from last season that depth is very valuable, very important. It's not only important, because, with different matchups, you might have to change, different players for different matchups, but also for injuries, if injuries, come up, you need to have someone who is talented to back up the person who's out until he can get back. The Lakers suffered greatly, when LeBron went out and when AD went out, they suffered greatly as a result. Then also for resting purposes, you also need a good bench. And when you're playing games, of course, if it goes into overtime, double overtime, whatever, you're going to have some situations where even when those key players or star players are resting, you need to have the bench that's going to keep the score afloat and possibly even increase the lead if they had one. So all of that's very important. So having a deep bench is very important, very valuable, and they saw that from many perspectives from last season. So that's one reason why they weren't inclined to bring Dudley back just to take one of those spots, just to be what he calls a glue guy. And that's what he sold to them last season, the sales pitch, I'm the glue guy, I'm the guy who, gives advice and keeps things going, it keeps people together and so forth. And they went for that. They went for that sales pitch. But again, with them learning from their lessons, look at last season. That glue didn't go so far. I mean, you're talking about him being a glue guy. Well, first of all, glue guy is someone who keeps the players together, keeps them psychologically, connected. And that should transfer itself into a winning spirit, a winning spirit, a winning psychology, next man up type of mentality. And when that didn't happen in the playoffs, what happened was, when it was time for the others to shine, they were nowhere to be found. So, what really glue guy, what role did he play? Because it didn't get us out of the first round of the playoffs. And then if you look into the team itself, you had many conflicts that were going on. You had, Dennis, he wanted to be a starter, but he wasn't playing like a starter. And if he wasn't a starter, he wasn't happy. Then you had Gasol, who thought he should be a starter, but then when Drummond came, he thought all of a sudden he's not going to be a starter. And then he started playing better. Well, why wasn't he playing better before? All of these egos, what happened to the glue guy that could, mesh these egos and make things run smoothly? Even Kuzma didn't know what his role was. And it appears though he wasn't even satisfied with the way that he was being used, right? You had Trez, who had his problems, right? So this glue guy who's supposed to be there that they hired, okay, you're the glue guy now, show us your worth. Well, he didn't show them. Even Dudley dropped the ball because he didn't show them his worth. He didn't show them the fulfilling of the sales pitch that he gave them in order to get on the team again last season. Okay, so that's another issue, that the glue guy, which they were looking for, they didn't even find his value or worth even as a glue guy last season. Okay, so that's the first thing, the depth, like I said, that they needed. And then two, giving it up for some so-called glue guy who didn't even benefit them last season. So he dropped the ball on that. He wasn't even, fulfilling that purpose by which they were expecting him there. And then here's a third reason, which not too many people are even talking about. Dudley talks a lot. And so things that were supposedly kept within the team in secret, coming out because, he has an interview to talk about and he doesn't pull any punches. He says everything. He wants to put in a book. He wants to become famous. So Dudley has done an excellent job of trying to get into people's business, into the manager's business, into the owner's business, and into the players' business, and then spilling it out, in interviews and in books that he wants to write and so forth. So it's like even Dudley was there for himself. And so that sales pitch that he gave last season is not working this season. So you're talking about you're the glue guy, well, they didn't want to hurt his feelings or be too blunt about it. But they're like, well, where's that glue that you were supposed to have last season? It didn't seem to work. So they just told him, something that they had an idea that they would like to do. They said, well, we're looking to invest in getting some younger guys, and then they turn around and get Rondo, which is not a younger guy. And then they're possibly going to turn around and get DeAndre Jordan, which is not a young guy either. So them saying that they're looking for younger guys was a spur of the moment thought that they thought would work, to tell them that. And they probably would like to get younger guys, but, they valued, of course, Rondo's contribution in terms of, being a coach on the floor, and he can play. So it's not just he's going to take up, a bench rotation, and Rondo can still play. So he's a contributor in more than one way. All right. So, that story about, we're looking, to get younger. We already have enough older guys. In terms of glue guys, we, veterans have already been, spent many years in the league, and they know how to get along. They've been on different teams and so forth. So you don't need a glue guy for them, for the veterans, So, Dudley is saying he's the glue guy, and he's thinking they need that glue guy back. Well, they don't need him anymore, not with a group of veterans. And those veterans are glue guys who can even help the younger guys who are still there, like THT and other players that are new. So, how much glue do you need? The glue didn't work last year. and he didn't even contribute, as far as a player. So, that's really the truth of the matter, that, he talks too much. They want to get him out of there too, because he's getting into everybody's business, into the management's business, the owner's business, the player's business, and then he's gonna get on some media interview and talk about all of it. And he's looking to write another book, or he's looking to get on an interview and just put things out there. So they don't want a guy like that, who's gonna run his mouth so much. Just like they had to unfortunately get rid of my man Magic, who was talking too much. So they don't want those types of guys who are talking so much from within the organization. So that's one reason, because he talks too much, and the other because he doesn't contribute as a player for the most part. And thirdly, he wasn't even serving a purpose as a glue guy, and now they don't even need a glue guy with the veterans, the amount of veterans that they have on the squad now. They don't even need him as a glue guy. All right, so that's the truth behind why they didn't pick up Dudley again, because he serves no purpose and he does more harm than good as far as they're concerned. All right, thank you for tuning in. And, don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share.